like to welcome Mitko Mitev, which is, I would say, a long-term friend. We have tried to calculate, count, not calculate, how many years we know each other, and it's about 20 years.
My God.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Mitko is with the Polish testing board, and we meet at conferences, work together on STQB stuff.
Yeah.
So let's welcome Mitko Mitev and listen to his talk. Applause.
Hello. My name is Mitko Mitev. I'm coming from Bulgaria. I'm Bulgarian by origin, although I live in Netherlands, but you know, Bulgarian is Bulgarian. So I've been around for many years. By education, I'm a software developer. I graduated computer science, and I've been developer for many years. But then I switched to software testing. Don't ask me why, but I thought this is really a good challenge, and I never regretted it. You know, I switched to software testing. It was a long time ago, and really I enjoyed it, and I stayed in this industry. So, yeah. This is a great conference, and you get, as every conference, you get a lot of topics about AI, about DevOps, about test automation. This presentation is nothing like that. It's more general. And you may think, well, we know these things. Yeah, I'm sure you all know these things that I'm going to say today. But the question is, do you actually follow up on those things? That's the big question. That's why I want to just point out some signs if your testing is enough or not. So I hope all of you are involved in software testing industry, right? So I'm sure you're asking a question, are we testing enough or not? When is it enough? Do you know how we say now it's enough or it's not enough? And of course, in many cases, we have problems. I said fiascos. Depending on the industry, you know, a bug may be a disaster, a real disaster. And I usually, in my presentations, give an example of some disasters, just to make sure everybody knows how software testing is important, you know, because we are really in an industry that can be very damaging for reputation and company image and stuff like that, and it may cost a lot of money, you know. I've been in different industries in my life. Some of them have been super important, like airplane development. You know, I had a bug in my life where the bug was that it was showing negative number on meters above sea level. So imagine you have a bug that says you are right now on minus 10 meters. So it can be a fiasco, really. So yes, I'm not saying we have to remove all the bugs, but at least to make sure there is a minimum amount of software quality in the product, and then we know that this is acceptable or not. And of course, we need to analyze if we need more or if we need less. And of course, it's all about money, you know, projects and budgets and stuff like that. And of course, you have also, is it enough or is it good enough? So there is a slight difference in English. It's actually a very important difference. Is it enough or it's good enough? So I like giving examples, and this is actually the price of a bad quality. I don't know, I'm shocked. I don't know about you, but $312 billion for debugging software every year. I don't know how many schools we can build with that. Probably the whole world schools can be built in a year time. But yes, it is important. Software quality is important. And people say, oh, you're going to disappear from the market. No. Well, I heard that when test automation became on the market. Then I heard that when Agile came on the market. Then I heard that about DevOps, we don't need testers anymore. I mean, every 5 years, I hear the same story, and now it's AI, yeah? But, if you look at the numbers, they don't lie. You lose a lot of money because of bad software. $300 billion a year. So yeah, this is an example. As I said, I like giving examples how important quality is. So this company, I usually do not mention names of companies, but Night Capital, because it was all over the press. For 3 seconds, they crashed the market. For 3 seconds only. The algorithm ran only for 3 seconds, and they lost $500 million. And 75% of their value as a company. So I don't think they exist anymore. Just for one bug, one defect in the software. I'll give you another example. I'm organizing also a conference. Maybe some of you heard about C-Test. Yeah? C-Test is a nice conference that is running in the Southeast Europe, also about testing. Every year we go to different countries. You're very welcome to apply for speakers if you want. It's in September usually. So 5 years ago, I was opening the conference like 9 o'clock in the morning, and I see people looking at the phones. And it's like, something's wrong with my slide, so I don't know. I mean, why is people getting nervous? Apparently, 120 airports closed because of a reservation, bug in the reservation systems. And, we had a lot of people from different countries, and they were worried about, am I going home or not? It's like half of Europe was down. And I'm not going to mention the name of the company, because they are very good friends of mine, but this is probably the biggest reservation system in the world. And imagine one bug blocked half of the world, and it was immediately in the news. So anyway, yeah, we're talking about software quality, and we have this misunderstandings and actually concept differences, let's say, and sometimes they say our testers our developers are brilliant, and we don't have to test because it's not needed. And of course, if you're a manager, you have to invest money in this, and then it's a question about software development against testing, and is the quality better, or you need to have the features at least implemented. So yes, testing can be expensive. And it's not actually expensive. If you remember the slide that I showed you about $300 billion, it can be, way more expensive if you don't test. So yes, it is an expense. And I still believe, after so many years in software testing, that this is actually added value. Somebody's trying to call me and getting me nervous here. But do we have an alternative? If we don't test, are you going live? I don't know your projects, guys. Maybe you are involved in projects that are for a mobile app. Then probably quality is not that important. Then you have different criteria. If you don't like the app, you delete it. Like that. That's it, But there are projects that are really big, like a bank, for example, or project for health, like checking your blood pressure or your, health situation. Then if you have a problem, then it's really important. So yes, and the testing is, by nature, is preventive. We don't want to find bugs, but we have to make sure everything is working proper way, and the features that we have are actually doing what they're supposed to do. And as I said, yes, you always have some buzzwords like DevOps, Agile, and things like that. But I still believe we need testers, and we will need always testers, because it's a different skill set and it's a different mindset. You know, it's totally different mindset of developers. Like they are more, I'm going to say something that you probably will not like, but they are more positive oriented. You know, they look like positive scenarios. They always think, oh, this is working, but you know, we are more complex people. You know, we like positive stuff, but we also look at the negative scenarios as well. So, yeah. And how good is your testing? This is really interesting, you know, depending on the defects. Oh, you say, we have very low number of defects. Is that good? Is that enough? Because you see, defects may mean different things in your project. You may have less defects because you have, not good quality of testing, but also not good quality of software. Well, it depends. Maybe it's good quality of software, but your testing is not good enough. I have a software company that is doing only software testing. You know, my people are doing only software testing. And we are involved right now in a project with a gaming company, one of the top 2. I'm not going to say the name, but the measure of the testing process is the number of defects people find. And this is not good, right? I mean, how can you measure if the tester is doing a good job by the number of the defects he found today? This is really, what if your developers are super good and it's really low number of defects that is in the software? It's really not good measure. But anyway, you cannot really say if your testing is good enough or not. So the first thing, I already mentioned a couple of disasters. I like this word glitches. When it's a disastrous defect, they call it glitch in the industry, in the media. So this is basically bugs in production. If you have a high number of bugs in production, you are in serious trouble. First, why do you have their bugs, you know, in production? Do you know about them? And it's a decision that the management takes. We know these bugs, and we go to production anyway, because we have to go, time to market, stuff like that. But that's a different story. This is a informed decision, let's say. You can make that decision and you go to production knowing that you have defects, but you have a plan what to do. But what if they are unknown? So you discover bugs there. How long they've been there? Like a year, even more. Why are not they discovered before that? And it can be a very bad public relation message. I mean, your software is going live, and you have a lot of defects, and people start, sending you emails, and your reputation is going down. And of course, it's way more expensive to fix it when it's already in production. So I don't know if you keep track on your defects on customer support systems that you have, if you keep track on the level of the defects that you have in production, but think about it. If you don't do it, I absolutely recommend you to do it because it's super important. So now, the second thing is bugs in UAT, so user acceptance testing. Probably this concept, some of you don't do it. I mean, now it's DevOps and continuous development, continuous integration, continuous delivery. So you don't actually do acceptance testing, but for some bigger projects, acceptance testing is a must. And if you discover issues in acceptance testing, that's a serious problem. That means that because the idea of acceptance testing is not to find defects. It's about just confirm that the functionality works according to the wishes of the business, and the bugs have to be found way earlier than that point. So if you find issues in acceptance environment, that's also showing that something's wrong with your testing. Again, I'm talking about trends. I mean, you may know how many bugs you have in production and user acceptance, but the question is, are they going up or are they going down, or how you manage the whole process? For sure, if you have a lot of bugs in UAT environments, that's a sign that your testing is not okay. So, number 3. How many of you are doing test coverage? Do you guys know how much you cover with your testing? Any? Yeah, one person? Oh, that's good. One? Really? Only one? Oh, 2, okay. Yeah, I told you, I'm going to talk about things that everybody knows about them, but nobody cares about them. Yeah, so that's I'm trying to make that point. We all know about test coverage. But do we do it? Usually not. And it's so easy to do it. You know, nowadays you have different types of tools that can do it for you automatically. You just instrument your code and you're there. You know how much you test and stuff like that. But for sure, you have to test at least the most important functionality, high traffic, core functionality, like the main business process. They have to be covered, and you should know that it's covered. If you don't know, if you cover everything, that's probably means that your testing is not enough. Yeah. I say 90%. I'm a bit optimistic. But if you cover the core functionality and it's 50%, that's also fine. It's no problem. But, you know, at least you have to have an idea what you're doing, how much you cover, you know. So everybody is using Jira or other defect management systems, and you should know what the status of your bug count is. Is it going up? Is it going down? Do you have a strategy? If, again, it's about trend. Is it going up? And why is going up? Your developers are getting worse or something like that? I say you can go to death spiral. I don't know if you guys know what death spiral is, but that's when there is no, it's like a point of return. After that point, you can't fix this project anymore. And I've seen in my life a lot of projects close because of that spiral. So for you, maybe it's not really something, but if you're a manager and you spend like 5 million on this project and you go to that spiral, then you're in serious trouble. So I always recommend people to do very basic metrics. And I know this is another topic that everybody knows about it, but nobody is doing it, and because people don't like metrics, and I understand that. But just basic, really basic, I'm going to give you a couple of examples like this. So in my projects, I usually implement 3, 4, 5 metrics max, but they should be on a different level. Let's say project level, department level, organizational level. So these are a couple of examples of metrics that you can implement very easily. You see, it's not a very complicated math, you know, it's like not a big formula with integrals and differentiation, stuff like that. But yeah, at least you have an idea what's happening. You know, it's first about the coverage, as I said, requirements covered. If you don't have requirements, if you have user stories, it doesn't really matter. Use cases, whatever you have, like if you're an agile project. But still, am I talking too fast? Okay, good. But still, at least you have an idea what's going on. Then, I said already about the bug count. Is it going up? Is it going down? At least you have an idea. You are in control. If things are going up, then you have your weapon to go to the management and say, guys, something's wrong. You know, this thing, because people believe more on graphics and you know than on words. So if they see the proof that you know it's going up, the graphics, then they will take measures. This is on a project level, and then on department level. These are two metrics that I like very much. The time that you find the bug and the time that you solve the bug, you know. And again, they're very basic, but still, they give you a trend. So you know what's happening in your organization and in your department in this case. And as I said, the top level metrics, and it's again very, very basic. How many issues you get reported by customers. Again, this is really bad. I mean, if you touch this point where customers are complaining about your quality, in no way that's a good idea. But yeah, at least you have an idea what's going on and is it going up, is it going down? Customer reported issue percentage. So now, number 5, no unit testing. Do you guys do unit testing? I see people nodding like 2, 3, 4. Okay. Man, really? You don't? Okay. My son studies in university in computer science, and I see him one day, and I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm writing unit tests in the university. I said, why? He said, otherwise I will not pass. I mean, university, you know, if you can write the code, you can write the program, but without the unit tests, you will not pass the exam. Hands down to this university. What can I say? This is the way we should go. And I understand. Nobody wants to do it. Everybody wants to write features and functionality. Unit testing is not nice. But it's natural for developers. They have to do it. You should not do it. I've been involved in projects where testers have been asked to write unit tests, and this is totally wrong. I mean, you know, if you write some functionality, you know how it's supposed to work. You can write a couple of unit tests. It's not a big deal. I mean, of course, it takes time and stuff like that, but it's your job. And if you have unit tests, especially if you have continuous delivery, that's the way to do it, and you can put it in the testing automation process and everything. And of course, if you have unit tests, it's cheap because you find the bug in the beginning of the process. You don't find it at the end. So, we talk about these things. You know, production and user acceptance and unit testing and different phases in the software process. But do you know what you want? When is testing enough? How do you define, is it enough or not? Like some years ago, people were writing test plans, and then you have acceptance criteria. You say, okay, testing will be enough if we do this coverage, if you don't have any major bugs, or if we find them, we fix them before we go live. If you have minor bugs, you make a plan how to fix it. You will probably never fix them, but at least you have a plan on paper. And then you say, this is good enough quality, we can say, that's okay. For agile projects, you probably have definition of done, right? I mean, at least you have to have some quality measurements there, what is enough, so you say it's done, I hope, right? So a lot of people, and you're probably going to be very surprised, do not have definition of done or test plan or whatever, acceptance criteria. How do you say we've tested enough, this quality is enough? You have to put it somewhere on paper or online, but whatever, you have to have a definition. A lot of projects do not have definition of enough testing. So we talk about functional testing, but there are other aspects of testing that are also very important, non-functional testing. And I understand it's an expensive thing to do, you know, performance and security, but you know what is going on these days, especially security. Everybody's trying to hack you. You know, it's a constant process, and they're getting better and better. So you have to do it. Imagine you have a system that has to handle, let's say, 100,000 of requests per hour or minute, whatever. Do you know if your software can do that? Like bank, if you're a bank, you want to have transactions. Like I was in a project with Telecom. They had 80 million calls per day. 80 million. Do you know if your software can handle that? Have you tested it performance-wise, like load testing, or, you know, if you, I mean, functionally, it works. There is no major issues, and we can go live. But can we handle all this load? Oh, we don't know. Oh, okay, then we go performance testing. But this is going to be like another 3 months. Yes, it will be. But let's do it now instead of going live and, you know, get all the bad publicity that you cannot handle your calls per day. Security is the same. People underestimate security. They say, you can't hack us. I'll give you an example. I have a couple of ethical hackers in my company. The job is like try to hack you, but with the good intentions, not to steal your money or something. And 2 months ago, we had this bank from Ireland. They're saying, can you test our bank software? We know that you cannot hack us, but just to make sure. And I said, okay. And the guys hacked them in 4 days. In 4 days. Then the bank called said, we can't believe what happened. Can we have a subscription every 3 months? You come back and say, okay, now it's better. So that's the whole thing. I mean, with some things like, again, if it's a mobile application doing games and stuff, it's not so important, security. But there are projects where, you know, you have to really pay attention, especially if there is a personal data, you know, yeah. So preventive. These things people don't like, you know, requirements and assessments and static testing, reviews. How many of you do reviews? Okay. Okay. This is better. Yeah, and I understand. It's not sexy, you know, reviews. But again, it's in the beginning of the process. So if you don't do prevention, it's going to cost you money, a lot of money. So another thing, when you think about it, these points that I'm trying to make, are we doing this or not in our company? Like, if we don't do it, why don't we actually do it? It's not so expensive, actually. You know, it doesn't require a lot of budget and stuff. So yeah, talking about the moment you find the bugs, when you find them. And everybody knows that the bugs in production are way more expensive than finding them during a review or unit testing 4 to 5 times. People say it's more expensive. So if I'm your manager and I say this is your budget, and you say, okay, we're going to save a lot of money if you do unit testing and reviews in advance, and then of course the bug count will go down, then I will probably say yes, yes. So this is the picture. A lot of effects are natural. You know, things are happening without your, well, yeah, your influence. But there are points like management choice, you see, where you can influence. And that affects, like, you know, 4 or 5 places where you can actually make a difference and influence the situation in your company, that things are going to get better and stuff like that. So what we can do is just act on these points where you know, a choice has to be made, and then in that case it's important and you will have a good effect. So time, number 9. You know, all of you know this thing about the 3 things that you can have, but you can only pick 2. Yeah. So if you want to have good and cheap, then it cannot be fast. So pick 2. And usually, quality is the thing that is not picked. You know, people prefer to have time to market. People want to have more functionality. So as you see, quality is number 3 always. And yeah, you have to fight for this. This is usually the process of software development in my experience. I don't know, maybe you have different experience. But usually the time for testing is squeezed. And I mean, scope has changed. People are putting more features to be developed. And at the end, the result is that the planned time that you have for testing is actually less, way less than the original plan. So we are always squeezed. But we have to fight for this because it's really important that we have enough time for testing. And again, it's about trend. Is this happening in every release that you have? Is it just one time that you have this squeeze, that you don't have enough time? Or it's happening every time? So if it's happening every time, this is a serious problem. Obviously, your planning is bad. And yeah, just make sure you have absolutely enough time for your testing. And this is something that you would not like, but as a manager, I can tell you, if your testers start leaving, then yeah, something's totally wrong with your organization. You know, people leave for different reasons. They can leave for better salary. They can cross the street for 20% raise on the salary side. Can be financial. That's okay. But in most cases, it's, people are not satisfied with the way of working in your organization, and that's the reason they want to leave. Yeah. Dissatisfaction can be different reasons. It can be that your process of software testing is not good, and they see things that they don't like. The time is not enough. You don't have the, you know, the right way of doing software testing, whether it's automated or not automated. It doesn't really matter. It's the question of personal satisfaction. If people don't like what you're doing, then they're gonna really leave your team because the frustration level is going up. You know, you can accept a lot of, let's say, compromises in your life, but if the things are not happening with the time, obviously at the end you will leave. So yeah, this is the worst one. So I hope you got a couple of good ideas about your projects today with my talk. Testing is basically pure risk management. It's not more than that, you know. And how you save money, there are different ways. One of them is to reuse your testing all the time. The other one is to automate. I hope that all of you guys are involved in test automation nowadays, because it's the way to do it. Things are really super fast happening right now on the market, and if you don't automate, then you're in trouble. But also, not every project can be automated, because depends on the maturity of the project. Automate. I'm not going to say that because camera is recording, but automate shit, you get shit, right? So the project has to be mature for test automation. And of course, you have a lot of other challenges. I just picked up top 10 for me, but of course you can have a different challenges and different ways of trying to assess the quality of your testing and of your software development lifecycle. It can be commercial tools versus open source. It can be manual testing against automation, as I said. I mean, nowadays, manual testing is going really rapidly down. It can be involvement of AI in your test process, and everybody has to think about it. And I'm sure on Test Virus there will be a lot of presentations already, I think, in the area of AI and how Gen AI can help us to do a better job. And I'm telling you, I'm using AI for the things I'm doing. And my performance, I mean, in the beginning, I invested like 2-3 months to teach the tool, and the tool was teaching me, but then my performance went up 300%, I'm telling you. So this is a process that we all gonna go one day, so why not earlier than later? So yeah, that's it from me. I'm on time, 2 minutes earlier. Yes.
So we have a couple of minutes for a couple of questions. So do you have any questions to Mitko? Okay, I've got a question, because the actually last sentences triggered me a little bit, because about using AI. I'm using AI as well, and it helped my performance.
Yeah.
So could you tell us more about in what tasks? Because 300% increase is, well, in anything, yeah, time and money, it's astounding. So in what task it helps you?
All right. So I've been busy with writing materials for trainings, let's say. I want to do a training in, let's say, security, or let's say automotive. I know usually to write a good material for training costs me like 3 weeks. Also, I'm not native English. I'm Bulgarian, right? I mean, my English is Bulgarian English. So the challenges usually for me is like how to produce the content and to have a good English. And of course, I always use copywriters and stuff to check my language at the end. So, okay, so for training that I'm writing, let's say 4 weeks. With the Gen AI, I reduced it to 15 days. So it's not 300%, let's say 200%, but still. Also, the material, the content that I produce is perfect English. I mean, I don't have to worry anymore about my Bulgarian English. So yes, it really helps. It took me a lot of time to understand the whole concept and how it works, And also, I'm not using the general AI. Well, it's general AI, but I put it in the context. So, only in that context that I'm interested in, let's say automotive testing, I'm limiting it to that context, and you don't let the tool go and like Googling for different topics. You just give him a context, and then it's very focused, and then stop dreaming and all this kind of stuff. And
So you are not using general
it is
ChatGPT.
general, but I limit the context to the topic that I want, and that's the way. It took me some time to understand how it works, but yeah. But yeah, I'm super happy, and definitely my materials lately with way better English than before. But yeah, that's the way I use it. For content-wise, and also test cases and stuff. And also, as I said, I have a company in this area, in software testing, and I know this is going to happen. We're in a process of implementing and incorporating AI in our day-to-day business. And you all should do that. Yeah. It will happen one day anyway, so why not now? Yeah.
Okay, thanks. And don't you fear that ChatGPT will steal your content and put it on Udemy itself?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen my slides all over the world, man, so
Okay.
you cannot do this. You cannot limit people, so yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Any more questions? No. Yeah.
Thank you very much for the presentation. At the beginning of the presentation, you said that this year or last year, there was $312 billion spent on debugging.
Yeah.
Do you know maybe if that number increased in comparison with previous years?
About trends, because I was talking about trends all the time. You got me. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's going up or down. What I do know is that people are saying that, you know, testers and testing is going less and less important. But actually, the budgets for the last year for testing was 40 billion, and this is like 20% more than the previous year. So actually, the budgets for testing are going up. So whoever tells you testers are going to disappear, that's not true at all. So yeah, I know about this trend. Software quality is going up. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
You said something about manual testing versus automated testing.
Yeah.
Do you think these kinds of testing are on the different sides?
Yeah.
I
mean,
understand it in this way when you said it, but
yeah.
I just make sure.
So basically, the ideal situation is where you have, let's say, regression testing automated, and you know all these things that you prevent that old functionality is working perfect and stuff like that. And of course, you always have the new functionality that has to be tested. People combine automated testing with exploratory testing, for example, because they don't have time to write documentation. And you know, agile, everything is agile nowadays. So it's a combination. But what I'm saying is that you can't keep doing only manual testing. It's just impossible to keep up with the time and the speed of software development. So you can use experienced manual testers to find a way to test your software and then implement automation on top of that, right? Yes. I'm not saying that stop doing manual testing because it's impossible, you know. Yeah. But yeah, the focus should be on speed, and you need the automation for that. Because, you know, automated tests, they can run in the night, you know, so, yeah.
Okay, thanks. So time is up. So thanks, Mitko, again.
Sure,
And
thank you.
Yeah.